So, I've quite literally never fought a defensive siege battle in Warhammer 3 on a walled settlement. Not a single time in any of my campaigns, ever. Have you guys? I think that in and of itself is inherently a problem. All this time spent on overhauling the entire system, and I basically never had a chance to experience it outside of minor settlement battles. We know AI behavior is the main culprit, how they abuse Fog of War to snipe undefended minor settlements and generally behave like a nuisance. That's thematic for some factions, maybe like Skarsnik or the Skaven, Clan Eshin, that kind of thing. When you start seeing Archaon the Everchosen or Be'lakor acting like a little wiener, obviously that doesn't feel too great. And I knew this was an issue, but I wasn't aware of just how egregious it was until yesterday. The situation I'm in right now might look a little bit strange, and it is, because I'm using the console mod to create it, because this situation would never arise organically. The AI doesn't have the competence or ability to organize this kind of assault. Basically, I wanted to bring you all a cool siege battle where Ostrogoth and the Legion of Azgorh have returned to Zharr Naggrund, taken the city, supplanted the Conclave of Sorcerers, and then Grimgor rises up with a massive Black Orc rebellion from within. But immediately, the issue I ran into was that the AI just wouldn't attack me inside the city. They sieged me for 20 turns, completely destroyed the garrison, and left the Legion of Azgorh by themselves. Didn't matter what the difficulty was, I changed it from very hard, down to easy, up to normal, to hard, what have you, it did not matter. I did all the hard work for them here. I gave them overwhelming forces. Shut up, Tretch. I gave them the ability to strike directly at my capital with endless hordes and extra special units they would never be able to recruit themselves, and still they would not attack me until Drazhoath's army dropped below half HP due to attrition. Despite having 15 freaking stacks of rogue idols and Black Orcs chilling outside my walls, even when I stacked the deck that heavily in their favor, they still refused to fight. Eventually, once the auto-resolve dropped to decisive victory for them, that is when they finally chose to attack, so I said, alright, cool, we're in business, we can now do a battle. The other, perhaps even more important problem, is in battle itself, with the maps and the capture system. Obviously, this is not a new issue, people have talked about it many times in the past, but because I've never had the opportunity to play a cool battle like this one before, it hasn't really been at the forefront of my mind. The main issue is that walled settlements simply aren't defensible against overwhelming odds, which was not true for Attila, or Medieval 2, or Shogun 2, or Rome 2. We know walls are bad, they always have been. You generally don't want to try and hold them, which means you want to hold a defensible location within the city where you can bring the might of your full army to bear. Problem with that is that there are a bunch of little capture points sprinkled throughout, and that's the only thing the AI cares about. Because if they hold the majority, they win automatically. So we're no longer playing a battle, we're playing capture the flag. The AI isn't programmed to fight me, it's programmed to spread out and capture as many points as they can. So in this battle, I am holding the main plaza of Zharr Naggrund in the only defensible position that would prevent the AI from capping all my points, but simply by holding more minor points than you, they are automatically going to win the game no matter what. I can't split my forces because against this many souped up endgame event Black Orcs and Rogue Idols, those isolated pockets will get rolled. I need my army together, cohesively, and defending the Temple of Hashut in the coolest, most thematic way imaginable. So then I asked the question, why does the battle just end when I have the main victory plaza, and I'm still defending the city with my full army? Like sure, give the AI buffs, give them leadership and melee attack, and whatever else you want for holding important capture points throughout. I have no issues with that at all. But to just straight up end the battle and wipe my army, when my remaining units have a legitimate shot to win the battle, or at least take down thousands of Greenskins before they do, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. And more importantly, it isn't fun. How is it fun to not get to play the battle when you're playing a battle? Can you explain that to me? Can anyone explain to me how in a strategy game that is about spectacle and about fighting cool battles in a game called Total War, that not getting to play the battle is a better solution than playing it out? Why is a choke point battle more defensible than the greatest city in the Drazhoath Empire? I could literally just plot my army in the middle of a field and corner camp, and that would be more defensible than defending the mightiest city in the Drazhoath Empire. Why is Grimgor spawning inside my own settlement? It's actually extremely thematic for this battle, you'll see that in a second. The Black Orcs are like rebelling from inside the city. I actually loved that, but it's completely unintentional, it's a bug. I don't think an army is supposed to spawn there. But yeah, I'll share some more thoughts during and after the battle itself. It was still epic. I mean, there are amazing shots in this one. I was having so much fun with it, but I realized right at the start what was going to happen, and all those really cool moments ultimately manifested in nothing. It just had a super anticlimactic and lame ending that is entirely due to the way this weird siege system has been designed. Winds howlin', baby. Capital city of Zharr Naggrund is mine. But as soon as Drazhoath the Ashen takes his rightful seat at the pinnacle of the ziggurat, first in the eyes of his father, disaster looms. Grimgor and the endless ravening hordes of Black Orcs have come for vengeance, and they need to be put down. Never let it be said that Creative Assembly doesn't care about this game, that they don't put time, effort, and energy into crafting it. They do. This battle map is oozing with love and care and craftsmanship, and overall, I'm having a literal blast with this DLC, as my Dreadquake will surely soon attest. You just saw they've even lined the streets of the city with the petrified bodies of long-dead sorcerers, bull motifs everywhere, fires of industry are lit and burning, and this is just a really cool siege map. It is absolutely packed to the brim with all kinds of awesome details. So we're going to play this out knowing full well how it's going to go, and it's not going to end in the way you'd expect or want to see in this type of situation, but I'm playing it out to make a point. I have played this battle once already. The first time the AI split their forces like crazy and just went after all the capture points, which they're going to do again. So this time, instead of splitting my army into two, I'm going to defend the main capture plaza, the Temple of Hashut itself, which is of course the most important and most defensible location on the entire map. Because if I was to defend the walls, they would just sneak their lords and small little squigs and heroes in behind to capture other things, and I would just lose through attrition. Don't have a particularly mobile army here, so we're going to play to this faction's strengths. I do need to move my Infernal Guard up so they can actually get line of sight, because I think if I keep them on the bridge, then they're not going to get to use their full max range. Put them on the front of those drawbridges, they'll be able to fire into the plaza down below, and I think that'll be a better location for them. Infernal Castellan will be with them, and then we'll have the Kadai Fireborn, Kadai Destroyer, and some of these other Legion of Azgorh units waiting on the wings. Fire at Will is going to be really important in this game. I cannot keep that on at all times, because if they're firing into surrounding troops, I simply won't have enough ammo, even with the restock from my Infernal Castellan, to keep those guns ablaze. So I do have my Dreadquake up here near the front with the Iron Demon attached. I believe it is still bugged, so we're not going to be seeing the flamethrower element, but frankly, I don't want my Dreadquake close enough to be shooting in with flames anyway. It doesn't have enough range on that. Just the mortar will be fine, and the Infernal Castellan will, of course, be restocking its ammunition, and I can cause all kinds of carnage amongst these Black Orcs before this battle even really gets underway. So the opening stage of this battle is just going to be my Dreadquake blowing things up. Hopefully they'll get a little bit blobbed for me. AI is not going to move until the other reinforcement armies start coming in, and as you might notice on the right side of your screen there's a reinforcement point that's Grimgor's army, and that will come in from inside the city itself, which doesn't make any... Well, it actually does make sense, but it's not intentional at all. I do think that's bugged. They're also chilling in a big puddle of oil, which would be incredibly cool if you could ignite, because I believe in Three Kingdoms you actually could. What an amazing way that would be to start a battle here. Just land one Dreadquake shot, and then the entire lake just turns on fire and kills a horde of Black Orcs. Not gonna happen, unfortunately, but I think the Dreadquake will suffice. It is getting some huge carnage done right now. Not a lot of kills yet, but already 1,500 value, and let's take a look at old Grimgor, who's the star of the show. He's really the impetus for this entire idea. He's got Black Orcs, a bunch of Orc boys, some trolls, and a Doom Diver, and they're just gonna be rising up from the slave pits down below the city itself. I mean, that is really cool and thematic. It's just bugged still. It's not supposed to happen, but I think he was the 4th army, so his won't show up until some of these other armies are already on the field, because they're gonna run into unit cap problems, right? Because you can only have 40 on the field at any given time. They have way more than that. They have 4 full armies. It's 80 troops, so only 2 armies will be on at any given time. Boom. That's satisfying. That feels real good. There will be some cuts in this battle, I'm sure. I'm not going to want to just double fast forward my way until all the armies are moving inside the city and attacking the final capture point. So probably make a cut here after the Dreadquake mortar has done some pounding. And that's a perfect formation for it to start shooting into. Because they're all squared up. Which means all of them will be hit by that earthquake. And every time the Infernal Castellan restocks its ammo, it'll get about half of those shots back. So if it starts with a base 17, probably get 7, 8, or 9 ammo back per restock. Infernal Castellan has 4 restocks, so I could probably, if I use my Dreadquake shots effectively here, kill off half of the armies just with that alone. Obviously the Rogue Idols and stuff will need to die to the Infernal Castellans, but it's already up to 3,000 damage value, and it's not even down to half HP yet. And we will definitely be saving some ammo for when the Black Orcs attack that final location near the Temple of Hashut and get really grouped up on my Infernal Ironsword, which are another really good tool against Black Orcs. Maybe not going to perform quite as well as I'd like in melee, especially because these guys are super souped up because of the endgame, the biggest WA or the greatest WA event. They get a lot of huge stat bonuses with that. I've seen like 60 melee attack, like 40 melee defense, that kind of thing. Pretty scary. It seems like my Dreadquake's having some issues shooting right now. Maybe it can't quite shoot over the wall. But yeah, the Ironsworn, they have incredible naphtha grenades, blasting charges, what have you, that really wreck armored infantry. So as I said, don't want to keep fire at will on them because I want to make sure whatever volleys I do get in are well utilized, but that's working out pretty well with the Dreadquake, man. Star of the show thus far, and frankly, if we play this whole thing out, it's almost certainly going to be MVP. Land that mortar shot right in between those two Black Orcs. Come on, Daddy, die for Papa. That'll work. Earthquake will hit both at least. All right, they're coming in. Oh, Lord, they coming. 4 Rogue Idols and a bunch of Black Orcs. All right. Let's turn on the jets with our train. Let's bring up the Infernal Castellan. Get him restocked. And wait for the rest of these armies to start making their way in and capturing my capture points. Ooh, that's going to be fun. Love it. So yes, I do need to make it clear. Obviously, I could split my forces into 2 right now and try to hold both plazas with half my army. The issue is, and you can probably already see how it's developing right now, against this many enemy armies, against this much AI coming in from all kinds of directions that only care about the capture points themselves, it's just a surefire way to lose. I'm holding the most important and the most defensible capture point, which is in the shadow of the Temple of Hashut, their Dark God. That makes sense, right? I want to hold the main capture point with my full army and wreck them as they come in. And it's working right now. I mean, we're dealing all kinds of damage. We can see that red marker at the top, that green bar is filling with red. When that runs full red, I'm going to lose. But we're losing to make a brave, bold point. Nasty Skulkers are coming in. Drazhoath the Ashen on Cinder Breath can tear out him immediately. Off some help from the Kadai Fireborn. Really nice firing angle, firing solution for our Infernal Guard Fireglaves. Shooting into the trolls. We're here, looks like we got some big guns coming in. Definitely not going to shoot at them with the Dreadquakes, but I think Black Orcs are a pretty good target. Really have all these approaches bracketed. It's going to be super hard for them to come in. And the bigger issue for the AI too, and the way they attack is they really just come in piecemeal, right? Like instead of staying in these cohesive formations and marching together all at once, they trickle in as they each individually go to separate points. And at the moment, they don't really feel like an army. Like if you were attacking in a siege scenario in real life or in any other Total War game, like you'd want your army to be together, right? Because if your units are isolated and running in piecemeal, they're just gonna die. The pathfinding is just so strange. It's so strange. They are doing a great job of capturing those points, though. Doing a great job of that. Oh, that's gonna be such a nasty volley. Drazhoath, unfortunately, has no chance to make much of an impact this game. He has no Winds of Magic, because the AI was using the anti-magic stance, I think. They drained all my power supplies, so he's only going to get to cast like 1 Fires of Azgorh before this battle is done. there's no recharging whatsoever. It's the 20 wins of magic, and that's going to be our max. So, no magical deluge this game, which is a bit unfortunate because I would love to just destroy blob after blob with huge burning hatchet butts. Well, I don't really care what people say. China Paul, Somebogo Soleil. I actually am Sean Paul. I don't know if you guys knew that. Let's back up our fire glaives here. Let the Fireborn take the charge. Unfortunately, the bridges are split, so it's kind of hard to get my destroyer over to the other side, which is why it was at the base of the bridge before, so I could choose, but I guess I pulled them up the wrong side. Definitely need to pull the fire glaives back. They're getting overrun. Oh, no. Oh. That's real nasty. Yeah, they're gonna die. Oh my god, they're dying. They're dying. There's something I can do about it. They got smoke bombs or dung bombed or whatever. And they're getting stabbed in the back and beat up by rogue idols. Well, those fire glaives might die. Drazhoath is just not gonna be that good in melee. Unfortunately, a lot of these lords are super jacked up too. They can actually probably beat him. 79 melee attack base. Like what the f? Setting Drazhoath in without support is definitely scary. And you can't really fight the Black Orcs in melee either. So the Dreadquake will do the damage. Yeah, those Infernal Guards died. Yeah, I really didn't think they'd get overrun that quick. But it's actually okay. We've got plenty to reinforce here. I'm gonna pull the Fire Glaives back from the front, and they should be able to deal with the Rogue Idol pretty easily. Obviously, would have liked to have not lost those in that manner, but there's a lot of stuff coming at me from multiple angles here, so I'm gonna do the best we can in the situation that the hand we've been dealt. Yeah, pull those Fireborn back behind the Infernal Ironsworn. Drazhoath did get his ass beat pretty quick. He lost that barrier overshield and took some damage too. I need to save my wins of magic for something really important. Put that destroyer on guard mode. I don't know why it's so far forward. That's strange. It's not supposed to chase, but he'll be able to get out of there no problem. I don't think he's going to take much damage down there. Getting some great volleys in with the fire glaives. Do need to be careful with fire at will though. Yeah, I'll waste a shot from the Dreadquake. Unit's gone though, just saw it evaporate. That's cool. Alright, here come the Rogue Idols. These are probably the most important things. Once those die, that will be such a huge swing on the balance of power for me. I mean, not right away, obviously, just because more units will funnel in to replace them, but they're probably the most dangerous units on the field. So yeah, that backup fire from the Infernal Fire Glaives working out real nice. Can you get out of there, you little butt? My lord, what are you doing, son? Alright, here more come. That might be... Is that worth taking a shot with the Dreadquake? We're doing fine on ammo. Remember, we got, what, 3 full restocks on the Infernal Castellan left? So we could probably finish off another 15 full Black Orc units, no problem. It's just a question of, will the front line hold long enough to allow that to happen? At the moment, I'd say, yeah, things are going fine. We're taking a lot of damage, but you'd expect that from 60 melee attack Black Orcs and Rogue Idols coming in. This is our chance, for sure. We might wait a little... I think we'll wait a little bit longer, because I think the Infernal Ironsworn are holding on just fine. More damage on this turn than I would like to, but that's a Fires of Azgorh coming up real soon. You don't have much time left in this battle, though. That bar up top is, it's almost full red now. We'll kill some Rogue Idols before this ends. We're gonna be able to kill a lot of Rogue Idols here. I mean, this is so cool and thematic. Like, this is how a Siege of Zharr Naggrund in many ways should go down. Now, obviously, ideally, there'd be some redesigns that make defending the walls more logical. I think this is the time to unleash the flames of Azgorh. Oh, this is gonna be glorious, though. This is gonna be so glorious. Watch this. Watch the way this clears infantry. I think this is better than a Pit of Shades. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. If it's not as good as Pit of Shades, it's close. More Rogue Idols dying too. But yeah, here's the crux of my issue, right? Like, we're defending the city, and we're killing tons and tons of Greenskins. But can you explain to me why this army would literally do better if I was just defending in a choke point battle, or if I was corner camping. This is supposed to be the pinnacle of a defender's advantage, is playing on a map like this one. And there's no advantage. If I have to play the way CA wants me to play, I have to split my army, and I'm going to get face rolled. And I think I said it all right there in the moment, in the in the depths of my own despair. Yes, the whole city should be important, and yes, encouraging players to utilize more of it is just fine from a design perspective. It's actually one thing that I've harped on in my own siege battles and custom siege scenarios and all that. I think using the whole map is fun and should be encouraged. And yes, buffing the troops who hold all those points is logical as well. But if I play the way CA wants me to play there, I am throwing away the vast majority of advantages I have as a defender. The walls may as well not even be there with how they're designed right now. My cohesion and terrain advantage may as well not be there. I'm forced to spread very thin while the Greenskins ignore me, avoid me, and actively play capture the flag and overwhelm all those positions. To see a powerful force defending the city at its most important point and then just automatically lose when most of them are still alive, I think it shows serious flaws with the design of sieges in their current form. And I totally get how difficult the situation is, how hard it is to code competent AI for a battle system this complex. I am not saying it's easy, and I do not envy their position in trying to fix it. But this system sucks, dude, for so many reasons, not the least of which is I have to actively cheat to make the AI powerful and smart enough to make this kind of battle happen in the first place. And even when I do, they still do everything in their power not to attack me. And this situation may not be true for every single person who plays this game, but I know it's prevalent. I know this is how AI behaves in the majority of campaigns because people have been complaining about it since launch. They are timid, cowardly, avoidant, particularly on the higher difficulties, even when put in a position of strength, and it makes for lame gameplay. I do not want AI to suicide themselves. I do not want them to hopelessly throw themselves into my stacks with zero care or thought in the world, except for, the factions that make sense for, right? But there has to be a better solution on the battle side and on the campaign side. People have been wondering why I haven't done those awesome siege scenario battles I used to do, and the answer is really twofold. Number one, most map makers have stopped making maps because the payoff simply wasn't worth it for them, and I don't blame them. It can take dozens or hundreds of hours to make a custom siege map that maybe 10,000 people play. They can't get paid for it. The most thanks they get is some kind words and maybe a map showcase video. And with the changes to map tools in Game 3, from what I understand, it takes even more time to do. So map making is essentially dead for everything but domination mode in Warhammer 3. There are about 20 maps on the workshop, and it's been that way since August of last year. Meanwhile, there are 400 maps on the Warhammer 2 workshop, so that sucks in and of itself. I'm not really blaming anyone there. It's not really CA's fault. It's not really map maker's fault. Just a situation that blows because I loved that, and it was one of my favorite things to do to make content on YouTube, and you guys obviously loved it too, considering the views that they used to get. But the other reason is the one I just showed you, because this part of the game is just hidden away right now, and when you really look at it, it's kind of a disaster.